Hello, my name is Robert Pell, and I'm giving you an update talk on the work of the Wash Wader Research Group. So, the Wash is the western coast of Norfolk and forms an estuarized embayment with Lincolnshire. It's around 150,000 acres and it is half marine habitat, half intertidal mudflats with areas of salt marsh around the edge. It's an internationally important migration stopover and wintering site for waders on the Eastern Atlantic Flyway. This is the route by which birds migrate from breeding locations as far north as Greenland, Canada, and Siberia. The Wash is the key bottleneck along with the East Coast and the Wadden Sea for hundreds and thousands of waders. This is a video of a high tide wader flock at Snesham. The local RSPB reserve markets it as a spectacular, and it really is. You can have over 50,000 knot in the air at once. So here's an overview of the East Atlantic flyway as we've described, and notice that bottleneck around the North Sea. We'll get back to that a bit later. So how do we know it's important? Well, we know it's important from ringing data, and these are not recoveries that highlight the outline of the flyway that we've just showed you. Ringing provides birds with an individual identity which allows calculation of migration routes, survival rates, the proportion of young and adult birds in the population, information on where and when birds molt, the condition of birds, and correlations of where the birds are in connection to habitat use. So how do we know all this? We know quite a lot of information from the work of the Wash Wader Research Group. It was established in 1959 and has provided the largest wader ringing data set in the world over a period of over 60 years. This is a photo of the Outer Bund near Terrington, and it was part of a trial barrier feasibility study from the 1970s that was cancelled, partly due to the work of the group demonstrating the importance of the site for waders, and in particular, molting knot. So, unfortunately, this article from the BBC News website shows that conservation concerns don't go away despite the volume of protective designations the Wash has in place. Issues include threats for destruction of intertidal mudflats, shellfish harvesting, disturbance to roost sites, mortality events amongst birds. This can include adverse weather and more topically, avian influenza. So curlew are a hot topic in UK conservation at the moment. The Wash is a major wintering site for curlew, and our data show that many breed in Sweden and Finland, as this heat map of flag sightings show. Many breed over 1,000 miles away and return each year, and that's a fair old mileage when you consider that curlew can live over 30 years. So we're currently exploring how curlew use both the intertidal and adjacent arable fields over winter. Flag birds we can see using cultivated arable stubble and grassland, sometimes quite a long way inland. This is being further evaluated by satellite tagging, and I've included here a trace of a bird migrating over the North Sea. This bird managed to do it in just a few hours because it had a very strong tailwind at the time. And hopefully this will allow us to further refine how curlew are using the area. satellite tagging is being used on oyster catchers to have a detailed information about how feeding areas are being used by winter, used over winter, sorry. So a new development that you'll no doubt be discussing today is the UNESCO World Heritage Site application for the east coast of England. This would follow previous designations for our sister site of the Waddensee. And from a wader perspective, this is very much phase 3 of an existing site. We've established long-term data for movement between the Waddensee and the Wash. We tend to get big movements of knot in winter, particularly in cold weather, from the Waddensee to the Wash. There is a bias towards female bar-tailed godwit wintering on the Waddensee, whereas the males winter on the Wash. Males do tend to winter in the less favourable sites, and this has been borne out by a study undertaken by the Dutch as part of NIOS, which used Wash data. So many thanks for listening. Please visit our website for further information. We could talk all afternoon about waders, but I appreciate time's limited. Hopefully I'll be able to chat further in the discussion panel.